Welcome back to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome back to our watch club for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2. Having trouble processing the toxin? It's my own special formula. One I've built an immunity to. You, however, have not. Welcome back to Watch Club. My name is CTO831, but you can call me Hugs, and this is our Watch Club for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 14, titled Tipping Point. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Watch Club, our weekly review series, kind of like a book club, but way better. Keep in mind, we will be going into full spoilers for this series and Star Wars in general, so if you haven't watched this week's episode yet, be sure to do so, and then come right back in less than 12 parsecs. Now, before we're exposed to a dangerous special blend of toxins, let me introduce you to our experimental crew of ragtag troopers. First up, he's dropping in from the sky, way up high. We have the dopest, dankest dude on Dagobah, CT-1006, but you can call him Joints.
Ahoy hoy.
Yeah.
I missed a week. It felt weird. I had to keep that in for so long.
We missed it. Megan filled in for you last week, but it wasn't the same. No offense, Megan. No offense. And speaking of, rounding out our small battalion, we are so glad to have a true friend and war hero joining us, and her name is CT-0118, but you can call her Brushstroke.
And sometimes people call me O'Megan.
O'Megan. Oh my gosh. I hope maybe, if we're lucky enough, I'm hoping that we get to hear from the actual Omega next week. I hope so. That would be really cool. I think my my chain code is what's it?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm talking about? Chain code is still right to reach her. I don't know. Maybe that's not the right wording.
No, because chain code's identification. I don't know if that's how you
know
call
what,
someone.
Darcy?
She doesn't have a CT number.
Jeez.
I don't know.
Okay, listen. I'm sure I'll reach out to Sid. I'm sure she's got some sort of way of tracking them down. But listen, this episode is kind of a little bit more of a substantial episode than last week.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah, I know Megan and I tried to hold down the fort on Pabu.
I mean, anything's more substantial than that episode, so.
Yeah, I would not have had many nice things to say about that, so maybe it's for the best I wasn't there.
Oh man, yeah. I was reading on Twitter. One thing that I thought was kind of neat was the idea that Scarif was where Pabu was. Somebody had a theory that maybe Pabu was an island on Scarif, and I was like, that's kind of intriguing.
Scarif, if you don't mind.
Well, Scarif Rogue One. I mean, you remember what happened there?
Oh,
goodness. Ooh,
yikes!
More than just a sea surge coming at those folks. If that's what's going down. Anyways, before we are stuck rebuilding the fishing docks, let's get to this week's episode. This week we start off on Balmora, where we see 3 clones being escorted as prisoners onto a transport ship. One of them we see with his recognizable facial scar is Captain Hauser from Season 1. After departing from the outpost, the transport ship is attacked by Echo and his crew, consisting of Fireball, as well as a character named Nemec, and, of course, Gregor. As they breach the ship, they rescue Hauser and make their way back to the deck, only to discover the Empire was already erasing the databanks. After they threaten the Imperial officer to get the information out of him, he bites down on one of those pesky little pills, ending his life, and they barely make it back to their ship, where they finally make the jump to hyperspace. So this was an awesome way to kick off this I guess technically penultimate episode-ish, almost penultimate episode. What did you think of seeing some of our favorite clones back in action?
I always love seeing Gregor. He always brings a smile to my
His
face.
laugh.
So, yeah, exactly. You know, his maniacal, unhinged laughter just brings a smile to my face no matter what scene he's in. So that was pure joy to see him again. And then, like you said, seeing Hauser, like a lot of these clones we've known for a while. Just to see them all together on the screen again is really cool, despite the circumstances.
Yeah, I really loved the action of this starting sequence. The way that their ship like locked on to was it the bottom or the top?
Oh, it was like, I guess it was like the top or the side.
I think, yeah.
Thing.
It's just the way that it locked on. I don't think I've ever seen a ship do that. So it was like a cool functionality.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not a new thing, but every time I see a character chomp that pill in their mouth, I'm like, oh my God, it's so aggressive.
So aggressive, so shocking. The Empire, they don't mess around with that stuff.
No.
It is pretty nuts how many times we've actually seen that happen now. Like this is like what, the third or fourth time?
Again. This is
I
supposed to be
know.
a kid show, and then we got these suicide teeth type thing.
Oh my gosh. But usually with these clones that we sort of fall in love with, unfortunately they're one and done. Like I think back to Mayday in episode 12, and it was like I was like so sad to see him gone, but to get Hauser back, so happy. I think he was such a fan favorite from season 1, and to see that he's rejoined not just with Echo, but with Fireball and then Gregor, and as you mentioned, Darcy Gregor's laugh. Notice they're still using stun blasts. I wonder if they're still worried that some of these troopers might still be clones. Obviously, they're going around the galaxy trying to save their fellow clones. But I also wanted to shout out the one named Nemec. I thought was an interesting choice. I don't know what would have been written first, either this or Andor, but it's a different spelling according to the subtitles. But I was just like, is that okay?
Curious.
Is there any connection, I wonder?
It could be like a Jonathan. Some people spell it with the H, some people don't. So maybe it's just a common name in the Star Wars
Nemec's
galaxy.
a really common name.
Yeah,
we're going to run into like so many Nemecs as we go on. But I would love it would be so funny if like a character was going through the Star Wars DMV that we saw in Solo, and it's just
God.
Nemec, is it Nemec? Oh yeah, no, people do that all the time. It's Nemik. Yeah, no, it always gets mixed up. Yeah, I know, right? Also, I think that they need to start checking these Imperial officers' mouths as soon as they see them. Like, I think they got to do like, when like a dog is like it started eating something you shouldn't let it eat, and you're like, oh, get in there. They got to start doing that to these guys.
Yeah, but I mean, human jaws have a lot more strength than a dog's jaw. I'd be afraid of getting my fingers in there, especially knowing that they're willing to risk to end their lives to protect the information. I'd lose a couple fingers, I feel.
Probably, but all in, you got to do what you got to do to get this information. There was the only other time that we saw this though in live action was I think Mando season 2. Titus Welliver, who's the man in black from Lost, if you're a fan of Lost, he was also crunching down on one of those. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you got to imagine it having one of those in your mouth all the time's got to be pretty difficult. Like, what if they're eating Captain Crunch one day?
Yeah.
Right, and they're just crunching down, and then all of a sudden they're just.
I mean, I'm trying to think of the physics of it. It's probably like stuck up in their gums or something, and they have to pull it down in order to bite on it.
Okay.
But I'm sure that they've got some brutal dental hygiene if that is the case.
Because so
stuff getting stuck up there.
Oh my gosh. Well, listen, don't sign me up. One day I'll be crunching on some Mantel mix on Batu and then just on the ground. Wouldn't be a good time. Darcy, our Disney trip would end pretty quickly that way.
Yeah, I mean, I might just keep going.
Yeah. Oh, single rider line. Nice. Okay. Back on Mount Tantus, we see Crosshair still in prison, looking rather defeated, as he's handcuffed and transported to Emery Carr. And she tells him the doctor is on his way. She tells him to be smart and cooperate. Crosshair asks why he's there, and Dr. Hemlock tells him he intends to give him a clean slate and his freedom in exchange for Clone Force 99's location, telling him they're in possession of something he needs. Crosshair guesses, it's the kid, telling him they'll never give her up. He says he doesn't know where they are, and he's restricted to the table, and they bring the probe droid in to torture him. And before he leaves to address the prisoner convoy that was attacked leaving Balmorra, he turns to Emery and tells her to inform him when Crosshair is ready to talk. So why do you think Hemlock wants Omega so badly? Do you think he knows something that everyone else doesn't?
Well, I mean, as a generic thought, I feel like she and Boba are the only ones who have a like exact replica
Yeah.
of Jango Fett's genes. So she's like the perfect person to take back and continue cloning if they're still doing more of that, or like
Right, there's like a
splicing,
host body.
or yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that is probably the main reason. I'm sure she also knows a shitload about the Kaminoans, so
Right.
maybe there's a little bit there that they can get from her. I don't know.
Well, originally that was my thought as well, but I mean, I guess on the heels of that last Mando episode, with gene splicing being incredibly, explained and well thought out there, and how the Kaminoans are the ones who are at the forefront of this technology, maybe she is more than just Django, and there is something else in there that was a success, and they were like, we need to be able to replicate it, so we need to study her. So again, I was on your page entirely until that Mando episode dropped, and it was like, oh, maybe not. Weird how those two storylines are kind of
One
following
right
the
after
same
the
path
other.
right now. Yeah.
It's pretty smart. They know what they're doing. For the hardcore of hardcore that are, consuming all Star Wars all at once. I think Hemlock. I think I don't know if he knows that he's part of a bigger plan to ensure Palpatine lives forever, but I do think he knows more than even like Tarkin might know. I think he's part of again, the Empire is so shifty with who knows what and what have you. But I'm also wondering, this episode did keep focusing a lot on Emery. And we were talking, I can't remember if we were talking about this on a Watch Club or not on a Watch Club, but she's got to be like a failed clone experiment or something like that. What are you thinking?
Yeah. No, well, Meg totally mentioned it, and I'm believing it more and more. So yeah, Meg, take it away.
I mean, it was one of those like of total surface level assumptions because she has that New Zealand accent.
Right.
And I was like, the only people in the Star Wars universe I've ever heard with that accent are clones. So she's gotta be a clone. Like, what else?
Unless there's a New Zealand planet somewhere that we don't know about.
Which there very well could be.
Oh, I'd
but
love it.
They're focusing on her too much for her to not mean that much to the story.
Right.
So
giving her character a name.
Yeah.
And like, I think she's been a little more hospitable to Crosshair, because I feel like she's like, I know, we're connected in that way. I don't know.
And she's like, I don't want to do this to you.
Yeah.
She's trying to just say something, like give him something so that I can stop torturing you because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's keep going here. Back on Coruscant, Hauser recants to Echo and Senator Chuchi that he went into prison with 8 of his men, but only 3 of them survived. He says he doesn't know where he was being taken, but that the clones that were transferred before him never came back. Echo tells them he knows someone who can crack the heavy encryption on the data logs they pulled from the ship. Back with Crosshair, we catch him at the end of his torture, where he fakes his death, leading Emery to check in on him, and he manages to grab one of the trooper's blasters and forces Emery to release him at gunpoint. Crosshair fires her, and Megan, you actually mentioned this to me as well, with a stun blast. Clearly, again, there's something going on, and steals her access card. He takes out the surrounding troopers as he manages to stumble through the facility and attempts to send a message out to his Bad Batch brothers, when all of a sudden the room fills with a poisonous toxin, one that Hemlock has built an immunity to. Okay, so a few things here. One, why do you think Crosshair maybe we did. I wrote these questions a little while ago. I was about to ask, why do you think he only stunned Emery? I think we just talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
But the other question, what do you think of this first attempt at communication with his Bad Batch brothers?
I mean, I think he's under the impression, rightly so, that they're the only people in the universe that will help him in some way. Yeah. But also, I think he still wants to protect them. Like, they're his brothers. He still has that connection with them. He had it with them at the end of season 1, and we were all ready for one of them to die or something at the hands of Crosshair, but he will never betray them in that capacity. So, I think he just wanted to get that message out there and try to save them as best he could, which maybe backfired a little bit, but
I mean, I'm totally on board with the fact that he's just trying to save them, especially after the realization he's come to throughout the course of this season, where that he really made the wrong choice and he's having to live with that, but maybe they can get away and hide Omega and keep her safe type thing. That's the only thing I could think that was going through his mind, because again, we've seen him put through the ringer this season, so
yeah,
to at least want to save someone, I can see being a totally, believable reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also want to say just quickly within that whole chunk, I love that Senator Chuchi is like a huge part of this.
Of
And not a
course.
huge part, but she's becoming a bigger part of the rebellion.
Right.
And it's just nice to know that there are characters that are only in the animated series that did a lot and are a huge part of this. So I hope to see her again in some capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with what Chuchi is sort of setting out to do, I think is a huge thing with this season and potentially the next season of the Bad Batch, if we get one. I don't know if one has been confirmed yet. I'm hoping that we do. But it was great to see, Crosshair finally coming back to us in a sense, right? He's not only trying to protect his brothers, but Omega as well, which is something that I think is really lovely. And I don't think at this point he's fully back on the Bad Batch side,
No.
but he's definitely not down to do whatever the Empire is down for, especially with what happened a couple weeks ago. I also wanted to call out Jimmy Simpson is fantastic. He's so chilling with his line delivery. And I don't know. I love the guy. I'm so excited to see how his story plays out further.
Yeah.
Because I think just as much as Senator Chuchi is important, I'm hoping that Hemlock can almost become an even bigger bad going forward. I hope it's not like a one and done villain situation. Like I hope we get him past whatever we get next week.
I hope he gets the Gideon treatment.
Dude, let's
Yeah.
go. I'm so down. Like just all these sort of additional really great villains. You know what I mean? Like Star Wars can't just be 2 or 3 great villains. We need to get like a ton of them. So
Yeah.
Thrawn's coming, man. Just wait for Thrawn.
Well, and they're scarier because they're smarter and they're cunning. They're not like these big, giant-headed Snokes on a throne, and that's what you're supposed to be afraid of. Like
Snoke's on a plane. Sorry, I don't know why that made me think of that. But yes, I agree. Like they actually are
they pose a real threat.
absolutely, especially with what they know and what they're trying to do. Really, really good stuff. Let's keep
Snoke's
going.
on a
Let's
plane.
keep going. Snoke's on a plane. Back on Pabu, we can see that Lower Pabu is thriving yet again thanks to the Bad Batch sticking around to help repair it. We see Wrecker has helped to rebuild the fishing dock and that he's caught some dinner. Mayor Shep calls him and all of the Bad Batch an integral part of the community. He asks Hunter if they've reconsidered staying permanently, and then we get to see Omega and Tech out on another flying lesson as Omega attempts what she calls a tech turn and nails it. And then an alarm goes off to let them know that an incoming vessel is on approach, and Omega excitedly races Echo back to the landing zone and loses, but she doesn't care because she runs and leaps into Echo's arms, giving him a huge hug. And Echo provides the data that he needs to decrypted to Tech, and he tells him he needs to know where the Empire was transporting the other clones and why. So before we keep going here, Omega, in keeping up with her training here, is finally learning how to fly the Marauder properly this time. What did you think of her skills and her ability to pull off a tech turn?
I think it's really cool to see her again starting to flesh out her role in the team, becoming like a full-fledged member where she can handle any situation that is required of her. So it's really cool to see that. And again, watching that reunion with Echo made me smile so much. It hasn't been long, but you can tell that she missed the guy. So it's really cool to see them back together again.
Yeah, it's probably been a while for them. If all of Lower Pabu is doing perfectly well again, good lord,
It was fast.
then it's definitely been a while since they've been there. But it was so sweet. I mean, I love that whole like part of Omega reminding us that she is a kid. Like, there is a whole part of her that was sort of smothered by the Kaminoans because she wasn't allowed to be a kid, and Hunter and the guys are letting her be herself, and she's enjoying it, and it's so cool to see her like freak out and get excited about Echo. Also, she is a badass pilot. She did a great job, and watching Tech like freak out and go, oh my god, just relax, this is not what we do, and she was flawless, so it was super fun. A much better experience on Pabu than last time.
In this ship. Absolutely. I mean, I love the idea that she'll be flying the ship maybe a little more regularly now and again. And by the way, who else is a great pilot in the galaxy? Luke Skywalker, also another Force user. Just saying. But I think Omega should be in charge of naming everything from now on, because what she did is absolutely a Tech turn. Like, that's 100% what that is. So if she just starts naming all the things that the Bad Batch start doing going forward, I am so down. I would love for her to, like, you know how they have all their little plans that they come up with different numbers? I'd love for them to have one that Omega comes up with specifically, right? And we get to do that plan, and it would just be super, super dope. And it just shows off her resourcefulness, right? The fact that, again, she's adapting and learning these skills from all of her Dad Batch is really, really lovely, I think.
Her Dad Batch.
Her Dad Batch. They're just the Dad Batch, and they are teaching her all the skills. So back on Mount Tantus, we see Hemlock having a conversation with Governor Tarkin, informing him that while the attack on the transport ship was unfortunate, it was also inconsequential. Governor Tarkin tells him it's still concerning due to the fact that if any of the data is stolen, it could compromise his location. He's interrupted by Hemlock, who says they have protocols in place to ensure that does not happen, and Tarkin suspects that the leak came from a rogue clone still operating within their ranks. Hemlock asks Tarkin to send them to him instead of decommissioning them further. Tarkin says he expects a full briefing on Hemlock's plans at the summit. So first off, great seeing Tarkin here again. He's still kicking and running around there. But why do you think Hemlock wants defective clones instead of seeing them decommissioned?
I mean, I think they're probably just experiment or subjects at that point where he can just do all the tests he can imagine on these clones to figure out the best way to bring about the Emperor's, will or whatever. That's
right.
My only thought is that he wants more subjects because he's a sick and twisted guy.
He is pretty sick and twisted. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of thinking, and I've been bringing this up a lot lately, especially after when we talked with the last Mando episode, but I was looking up the article, the Wikipedia article, which, by the way, Wikipedia follows me on Twitter, by the way. No big deal. But Wikipedia has an article for the Sith Army, the Sith Eternal. And the official article, taken right from the article, it says, their fighting forces were harvested in secret, with their existence unknown even to most of their puppet galactic power, the First Order. That's gotta be it. You need troopers. There's your troopers right there. Like, why were we throwing away these bodies? And it's interesting to see that the Empire sort of is on almost an alternate side to Hemlock, where Hemlock does see that this used equipment, as they've been called, actually might be worth holding on to and maybe refurbishing into that new army that we'll eventually see in Rise of Skywalker.
Well, and I think they're utilizing not just any regular clone, but these specific clones that were, what's the word for them?
Defective?
Defective, thank you. The defective clones, because there's like something off about them. But those moments of being incorrect are actually like heightened abilities in a lot of them, especially the Bad Batch.
Right.
So he's like, well, if we can get a giant army of heightened clones, isn't that even better than just a random human that has decided to enlist in some sort of army? Because there's only so much training they can do. Whereas if you have a bunch of these clones that are willing to do your bidding without question, then
Yeah, that's what I was thinking might be the case, is that he's trying to collect these clones that, again, are known for being more against the Empire and not sitting well with Order 66 and all that stuff. And maybe it's more, they want a more complete control of, a more complete form of the mind control that we saw in the inhibitor chip, basically. Something that can take away all personality, and any order is Order 66, where they'll do it without question. So, again, this guy has there's some dark storylines that could be explored through Hemlock, and I hope we get to see some of it.
Yeah. I mean, what if Hemlock is I don't know if we've heard about it prior to the canon of Mando, but what if Hemlock is the inventor of the Mind Flayer? You know what I mean? And just that we saw that in last week's Mando episode. Like, what if we get sort of, he's like, I've come up with this device way better than at the summit, right? At the summit, he's there and he's showing off. He's doing a TED Talk and he's talking about his new, and you can pre-order now, and they, they're on the website. All right, back on Pabu, Echo asks Hunter if they plan on staying there indefinitely, and Hunter mentions it might be the best thing for them. Echo says that Rex and him have been building up a small network of clones. Some are in hiding underground, and others act as their contacts within the Empire. Hunter tells them they can't defeat them, telling them that while he understands why he's doing this, he just wants to know when it will ever be enough. Before they can continue their discussion, Tech calls them on board the ship, where he's managed to decrypt the data. Here we learn of the Advanced Science Division of the Empire, a clandestine operation with no records of its location or purpose. Tech did manage to find records on a Dr. Royce Hemlock, who was an officer expelled from the Republic Science Corp due to his unauthorized and unorthodox experiments. They also discover that Crosshair turned on the Empire and is in prison, and sent out a transmission using his old code. He tells them Plan 88, the Seeker, as a warning, and Hunter questions this as it may be a trap. So before we continue, just clarification here, if you guys, what you two think. You think Plan 88 is a code that the Bad Batch have made up, or is this Hemlock's plan, or is it like an Order 66 sort of thing? What do you think?
I feel like it was more just like he couldn't come up with a code on the spot that they'd be able to break, but they always know their plans and the names they go by. So this is just, hopefully they'll figure out that someone's looking for them if he gives them this plan number. That was my thought, at least.
Yeah, the secret.
Yeah, maybe there's something to do with however that plan is executed. That is what's going on with him, or what he knows is happening in the area that he's in. So it will let them know. I don't know. I wonder if it has anything to do with the cloning facility. And he's saying he's at the cloning facility, which is a new place now. It's not on Camino. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd love to know how deep the descriptions of these plans go, because, like, it could be like a Lassie situation where he's just like, he's just like Plan 88, and he's like, oh, so that means okay, we go here and then we turn here and then we go left here, and it's like, well, you got all that from Plan 88.
Well, I mean, they are a polished military team with numerous missions under their belts, and they've run. We've seen them use these plans in action, just on the drop of a hat. So, I mean, they probably know exactly what he meant by Plan 88 as soon as they heard it. Yeah,
they had a plan called Plan 7 that Wrecker mentioned in episode 8 of season 1. So, yeah, I guess, okay. I just wanted to clear that up. In the final scene, we see Crosshair in the same position as he was near the beginning of the episode, strapped to the table, about to be tortured again. Hemlock asks him to reconsider his offer, saying the young clone means nothing to him, and if he just helps him, he'll have his freedom. Crosshair says nothing, and Hemlock increases his injection levels, saying, let's see how long until you break. A probe droid slowly approaches Crosshair as he struggles, and he's struggling in pain, and the camera closes in on him, and then closes in on Emery as the episode ends. So,
I'm just saying.
Well, let's just get to it here right off the batches. What's gonna happen, Batch? Will Crosshair give in? And what do you think is gonna happen in next week's episode?
I mean, I definitely can't assume what's going to happen in next week's episode. There's too many untied strings. I don't know. There's a lot going on, and it could go in any direction. But my hope is that something is revealed with Emery about being a clone, about being attached to maybe the Bad Batch, maybe Omega in some way. I don't know, but I want her to be on our side.
I think that might be the case.
I mean, I feel like with the whole, again, Mando and this seeming to be closer and closer together, are we going to see Grogu when he's trapped at this cloning facility? Like,
Whoa.
That's the...
Oh my God, wait, we could.
Like, that's it lines up timeline-wise, and if, again, later on in this Mando season, we are getting that flashback from Grogu's point of view at the Jedi Temple, so...
The trailers for the episode make it seem like that might be the case. And by the time you're listening to this, you might already know the Foundling episode 4 is out. So maybe you already know the answers to these questions as you're listening to this. But no, I love that idea, Darcy. I love the idea that we very much could sort of. How amazing would it be that these episodes, could be coming out in a similar time frame? I think that would be really, really interesting to see if we get like a tease of what's going on in Mando as a flashback, and then we get to see it fleshed out in Bad Batch. Would be really, really cool, like a week later. I mean, we're definitely we got to be getting the reunion of the Bad Batch crew with Crosshair. I think the fact that they know he's defected against the Empire, they got to go after him.
Yeah.
I think this might still lead to a trap, but instead of Crosshair springing the trap, obviously it'll be Hemlock springing the trap. I wonder if they'll... I could see them doing the thing where maybe they do a callback to season 1, where they all had to bust out of the holding cells on Camino. Like, I think it would be really cool to see if it's like, they're in jail and it's like, we've done this before. And it's just like this like fun sort of, I don't know. I think it'll be really neat.
I mean, I'm just going to call it right now that if they are going back, it's going to be because Omega makes a super, passionate speech about family and how they can't leave Crosshair to rot alone type thing. Like I can already see that scene playing out, and I'm all for it. So I do hope that we do get that reunion and that it ends well for the 5 that we love.
It'd be pretty sick. I also think we're going to see Tarkin in the flesh at the summit, and... I wonder if we're going to get one more appearance by the big guy himself, old Pappy. Might even just show up at the event. We've already seen him in person in this series, so he might be there as well. And then, obviously Palpy is one step ahead of everyone. I don't know why I keep calling him Palpy, but he's one step ahead of everyone. But, he could be many steps ahead. And how cool would it be if in like the background of Hemlock's TED Talk, we see just a hollow projection of a red armored trooper? I think would be really cool. I'm just saying. I know I'm not writing the show, so I won't be disappointed with whatever they give me. It'll be amazing regardless. But let's get to our final thoughts here for this episode. I want to know, what are your overall thoughts and final score for this episode on a scale of 1 to 5 specially blended toxins? And Megan, we'll get you to kick us off.
Okay. Yeah, I mean... It was a great, I'm going to use a buzzword that we used a lot in season 1. It was a great snowball episode
Yes.
where it sort of built us up to get really excited for the season finale, or the last 2 episodes, I should say. They're releasing together, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, it really built up all these storylines to get us ready for a final chunk of the season. Hopefully not an ending. I really want a season 3. But this episode specifically, there were a couple moments that were a little bit slow. Again, I'm not a big fan of Pabu, so it didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be thriving again. But all of the...
Those poor people, Megan.
I'm just saying.
Right.
But all of the stuff happening on Mount Tantus and... Hemlock is terrifying. Probably one of the scariest villains I've seen in a Star Wars series, especially animated. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all coming to this peak that I'm like on the edge of my seat. I can't wait to see what happens, and I really, really want to know what happens with Emery.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I think it's because this is one of the things that I predicted so far in advance.
Yeah.
And it's like playing into my prediction. So I feel really good about it.
Like, please be true. Darcy, how about yourself?
I didn't give a score.
Oh,
jumping the gun.
Goodness.
So all that said, I am going to give this a 4.5 out of 5.
Specially
poison.
blended. Yeah.
Specially blended toxins.
Nailed it. Darcy, how about yourself?
Meg said it best. I mean, without the Pabu, this was a perfect episode. Pabu in my head.
You got some
threw me off
toxins
there.
in there, Darcy? You've been...
Okay.
Maybe.
Without the Pabu, this is a perfect episode to lead into the finale for the 2 episodes to close off the season. And I hope it's only a season ending because I too want to know more about this era. And the Bad Batch has been a really cool way to explore the Empire as it's really, taking hold and reaching its full power. So I'd love to see more. And again, the action piece in the scene at the beginning, or in this episode at the beginning, and then leading into the Hemlock storyline, like you said, everything is building so much, like up to such a great finish that I hope it really, hits it out of the ballpark. Because, again, I love everything they're doing this season with all the darker storylines, some more, again, political based stuff that we saw in Andor and now Mando. It's really interesting to see that all media of Star Wars are kind of following the same path now, where they're bringing the action, the intrigue, the politics, everything has a place in Star Wars, and they still manage to tell unique stories despite all revolving around these same topics. So yeah, this episode is a strong 4.5 out of 5 specially blended toxins.
Really good stuff. Yeah, I think this episode was great. I think, like you mentioned, Darcy, really strong, very classic Star Wars intro. Like that was like, I was like, I'm watching a new Star Wars movie right now. That's kind of how it felt. And I think it was a great blend between the back and forth with the Bad Batch crew and Crosshair. If you're going to kind of have not a Crosshair dedicated episode and you do move back and forth, I think this was the way to do it. I think it kept a really good pace, and even though not a ton happened, like both of you were saying, this is a really proper way to set up what's next. This is the tipping point. The episode name is very appropriate. Unlike last week's episode, which was called Pabu but felt like a stopping point. It just didn't feel like it was really leading anywhere. But the performances in this episode were excellent. As I mentioned, Jimmy Simpson's so good. And it was really great to see those classic clones back. Fireball, Gregor and his stupid laugh. And I think, overall, I think this episode was it was satisfying and had the right amount of intrigue and reveals. So I'm going to give this one a solid 4 out of 5, specially blended toxins. But that is it for this week's Watch Club, the penultimate Watch Club for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 2. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, if you haven't already. And if you want to write into the show with your thoughts or predictions on the shows we cover in Watch Club, well, listen, you don't have to save your cousins who look just like you only to get an encrypted USB stick and then have your smarter brother decrypt it only to then learn that your mean brother is getting high on toxic toxins. Instead, Megan, can you let the big, beautiful batches know where they can reach us by holo message?
Absolutely. They can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or if you don't need that long of a description from Nate, you can find us on Twitter at GeekcentricYT or on Instagram at wearegeekcentric.
Listen, my descriptions save lives, okay? But keep in mind, we also have a ton of other great episodes covering the latest in movies, TV shows, and games, including our recent spoiler-free review for the Apple TV original series Hello Tomorrow. We've got our Dungeons and Dragons review coming soon, so hold on to your hats. I've heard some good things. Don't throw your dice away just yet. But if you enjoyed this Watch Club and you believe that this is the way, we also have our Mandalorian Season 3 Watch Club going out weekly, shortly after each episode debuts on Disney+. Coming up with our Episode 4 recap, which again you might have just watched. Episode 4 on Disney Plus will be out on Friday for that watch club. And we are joined by a special guest who I will not reveal just yet, but definitely look forward to that. And we have some interviews out now, like our interview with Mandalorian Season 3 director Rick Famuyiwa and Bo-Katan Kryze herself, Katie Sackhoff. So check out those interviews available right here on podcast services of your choice or on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. And you can also check out my interview with the Bad Batch themselves, D. Bradley Baker. I had a chance to talk to him. That was a good time. So again, subscribe so you can keep up with all the good stuff. Click the bells, click the things, do the stuff. Follow us on socials. Darcy, Megan, thank you so much for joining me for this Watch Club. And as we say,
good soldiers follow orders.